Come in, come in. Be not afraid of the darkness. Welcome to New Year, New View. No, New View. The name New You was already taken, but it works out. Our focus is on small, sustainable goals so that you're more likely to keep your resolution. You see, we give you a view to achieve. Over half the population makes resolutions, but only about 10% ever truly achieve them. So, a lot of people could use a helping hand. That's what we're here for. If you go too big too fast, you could get disheartened. So, we help plan and stay on task. Do you have any sort of goal in mind? Before you say anything, know that we do not support numbers-based dieting here. Science keeps showing how flawed various diets can be, how utterly damaging, especially reliance on nonsense like the BMI. They take your height and weight, but pay no attention to muscle mass, bone density, body distribution, race or sex differences, and so they pressure healthy people to be more, to lose more, so that they can fit into arbitrarily selected goals and overlook others who are on paper in the good zone, only to miss out that those people are skinny because of things like disordered eating and smoking or other harmful habits. Why, when I was a young thing, I had a doctor come in and immediately start talking about my weight, suggesting I look at losing some, to which I replied, "From where?" He looked up from his clipboard for the first time to see I was sat there all tits and ass. No, that's not a brag, darling. I wasn't eating well, but genetics will out. And he had to backtrack and move on to the actual reason I was there. People are all shapes and sizes, and size does not inherently indicate whether someone is healthy or not. Besides, often people put the cart before the horse. If you take a terrible injury, for instance, you're probably going to gain some weight as a side effect of being unable to exercise. You have to treat the injury before you can tackle the weight. And so few seem to understand that. Here, at New Year, New View, we make your goals with you in mind, not anyone else's idea of what you should be. So, what were some things you were considering focusing on? Not sure? Not a problem. Very common. Why don't I go over a list of some popular resolutions with you and explain what that might look like? If you are interested in improving health, one place we could start is drinking more water. No, drinking more water isn't cliché, it's crucial. Now, a vague drink more water won't get you far on its own. To help remind yourself through the day, we suggest getting a reusable water bottle. Something you like the look of. Maybe it'll have an animated character that you're a big fan of, or be for a musical group that you love to listen to. Some water bottles even have measurements down the side so you can keep track through the day of your intake. To start with, aim for just half the bottle by noon and finish it by bedtime. And once you're more used to that, double it. It goes easier than you think, especially with those tablets they have now that can add a little bit of flavor to the water without adding any sugars or anything. Whatever gets you drinking it. You could also aim to make healthier eating choices. We can look at your current habits and find where we can fit in more fruit and veg, or reduce the size or frequency of sugary or fatty treats. No, not eliminate. If healthy eating feels like a punishment, it's doomed to fail, and it isn't any fun. Not to mention, it could lead to the aforementioned disordered eating. Food is not failure. Food is not failure. I want you to take that in right now. We need it to live. There is no bad food. Only food we don't have the taste of. And allergies, obviously. Another health goal one could set is to be more active. This looks different for different people based on what you already do in your everyday life and what interests and lifestyles you might have. If you work from home on a computer all day, to start with, we'll give you some stretches to do at set intervals through the day. This is something I have down on my own resolution chart. It's important to get moving, twist and turn and such. Then we'd start working in something to get your heart rate up. Some people enjoy sport, but it's not for everybody. Some people just enjoy Wii Sports or get their cardio by going dancing. Even dances on TikTok. You don't need a gym membership either. There are plenty of public buildings with handy staircases and benches and fences that can be incorporated into some basic routines. I've even seen clever suggestions of everyday items that could be used in place of weights to start with. Just a couple of hours, a few times a week, could be the beginning of a whole new cooperation between you and your physical form. But maybe you have other physical concerns. Would you like to get better at expressing who you are inside on the outside? You could be more daring with your hair, makeup, clothing, the way you accessorize. Maybe you've always been a bit worried about how others will judge you if you finally try out that change you've been contemplating. I'm here to tell you, life is far too short to waste worrying about that. Most people are so busy worrying about what others think, they don't have time to actually judge anyone else. No one's as harsh on us as our own internal critic. Think how happy it makes you to see others who do express their true selves. I won't lie, some people you know may not take the change well. You may lose someone you thought you were close to, but if they go, they were never actually your friend. They were friends with their idea of you. What you will find when you're honest about who you really are, you're gonna find more like-minded people who will appreciate yourself. And this is advice I received myself before I moved to a big city for high school. It changed my life. Before, I was always trying so hard to fit in with everyone and what I thought they wanted me to be. It was coming across pretty awkward and not having as much fun as I could have because I was overthinking everything. I had a kindly teacher take me aside and tell me to knock all that off There was no point, and I was doing myself a disservice. So, when I went to the new school, I didn't. And it wasn't long before I found people who seemed actually interested in me and gravitated towards them. And they accepted me with open arms. I genuinely believe everyone should be true to themselves, whatever that looks like. Try your new styles. Experiment with color. Don't be afraid if you decide something isn't for you. After all, you can always try again. You're never too old for some self-expression. And changing your mind isn't failure. Changing topics slightly, you could decide to gain a new skill or hobby in the new year. Is there something that would be useful to know, or something you always wanted to try? It can be daunting, but thankfully in this day and age, there's a wealth of information online to help you get started. We'll find when you can fit some dedicated time to your pursuit and set out steps, starting with simply researching how someone already involved got their start. It seems obvious when you hear someone say it, but not everyone thinks to ask, how did you get going? We can find you online forums, blogs, guides, video tutorials, plan to save for materials you might need. And sometimes there are taster courses or weekend seminars. After you have had a go at it, gotten started, you can decide whether you want to pursue it, and then we can help you find schooling or internships, whatever applies to your chosen pursuit. It can be something you do as a new career or just for fun. Not everything needs to be a side hustle. It's important to have interests with no pressure, pure stress relief. I enjoy singing, but I'm not any good at it. It's just for me. Speaking of the hustle, if you want to save up in the new year, we can help go through your finances with you. Identify areas that could aid your journey. Maybe there's a more cost-effective alternative you haven't considered for everyday needs. If you find yourself purchasing scrub sponges, for example, for dishes or shower time, maybe consider getting a couple of wash racks instead. Texture cloths are reusable and last much longer. It's better for the environment, too, which is another resolution that's become more popular. We can help you find ways to do more for the earth, or a specific charity, or just ways to help your community in general. There's so much you can get started on now while it's getting cold out. As simple as getting to know an elderly person in your area, checking in on them every week. It can make a world of difference to someone on their own. And if the idea of getting out more is in the right direction, why not start having more adventures? There's so much we all take for granted. Local places of interest that we think, oh, I'll get there eventually, there's no rush. But take it from me, there's no guarantees. You may end up moving 4,000 miles away, or it may burn down, and you have to live with that regret. Make a list. We can help suggest local places you may not even know exist. On your list, make a note of distance, costs associated, and plan out little trips through the year so that you can actually go. There's so much to see and do in the world. While you save up for your eventual dream trip, you can give yourself little trips to keep your spirits up. We need distractions from the daily grind to make life worth living. And you never know what unexpected fun you'll have while you're out there. But whether you're a solo museum sort or a more social clubbing type, we can find something to fill your year right up. If getting out more is not for you, well, let's work on your personal space. Maybe you need help setting a realistic cleaning schedule. Little and often is the secret there. Maybe it's time to redecorate. You spend a lot of valuable time in your space. It needs to serve you both practically and spiritually. Basically, you should enjoy being there. Have I overwhelmed you a bit? Lots of options already. It's okay. You don't have to decide right this moment. I've given you a lot to think about, and this has just been an introduction. What's that? Why, yes, I know it's New Year's Eve. Quite late already. But the beauty of change is that it's always happening. Every day is a new chance to do something different. Maybe you don't even decide until March. That's okay. It'll be a new March and a new year different than the one before. Maybe you do pick one, but change your mind in a few weeks. That's okay too. This is your life. And again, change is not failure. The whole point of it is helping you find a personal view to becoming the person you want to be and living a life that makes you happier. Whenever you're ready is a perfect time to start. Now go on, have a great night, have a safe night, and I hope to hear from you again. Let me know if you choose something I suggested today, or if you come up with your own, or even if you need more suggestions. I'm happy to help. Anytime. Have a happy new year. And be not afraid of the darkness.